Hey guys, and welcome back to another baby video. I keep wanting to say beauty video, but I've been filming a lot of baby stuff in the last few days, and today, this is my second video filming today. I'm trying to get a few things filmed before the little baby arrives. So today I wanted to do a third trimester update. I've only done one kind of like update video in this pregnancy, and it was for trimester 2. I feel like my first trimester was so uneventful, and the second one I will link below if you want to go and watch it. I'm currently 37 weeks. I've got 2 weeks left to go. I'm booked in for 39 weeks exactly for a scheduled section. So I kind of know when the baby's coming, which is weird, but also I really like it. Being a bit of a control freak in like my schedule, I really like that. But yeah, a little bit different to kind of like normal, I guess. What's normal? So yeah, 2 weeks left to go. I thought I would check in with you guys and kind of give you a bit of an update on how the third trimester's been for me with baby number 2. So I feel like this pregnancy has whooped my ass, to be really honest with you. It's been so much harder, and I don't know if it's like me looking back with rose tinted glasses, because it's been 4.5 years since I was this pregnant with Riv. I was also very pregnant in my first pregnancy I was very pregnant in the winter. River was born just after Christmas, and this baby is like the polar opposite midsummer baby. So I don't know if that has had an impact. It has been quite warm the last kind of month. As you guys will know, if you're based in the UK, it's been pretty warm. If you're not, it has. For us, it's not like hot compared to hot countries, but for us, when we're not really geared up for the warm weather in terms of air conditioning, etc., and just generally like we basically like dig out our holiday wardrobes whenever it gets hot. It's been okay considering. The one day that was like 33 or something like that, I spent most of the day in the car because I drove down to London and back, which actually worked in my favour because it's the only place with aircon. So I was actually fairly cool, but the rest of that week I was like kind of out and about, and yeah, it was hot. But I don't think that's necessarily why. I don't know. I think it's a combination of things. Firstly, I'm 5 years older than I was when I had Riv. I'm about to turn 34, and I was 29 when I had Riv. So I think that does make a difference. Even though 5 years doesn't seem like a huge amount, I do think physically, like, you know, the end of pregnancy, like the final few weeks are physically really hard. So like even just 5 years on your kind of age definitely makes you feel a little bit more. I have anyway. And then obviously I have a 4-year-old running around, so that definitely doesn't help in terms of like how tired I've been feeling, but also just my body and like how it's reacted. My legs have been really prone to swelling in this pregnancy, which I didn't get with River at all. I definitely put weight on, and for this pregnancy I feel like I've put more weight on, and I've had Mike telling me the entire time, no you haven't, you look basically the same, which, you know, I never listen to him anyway. But in terms of like, my doctors track my weight, so every time I go in and for a baby appointment I get like tracked. The nurses weigh me and do my blood pressure, etc. And actually in comparison to, like, I can see the records from Riv and this pregnancy, I'm a little bit heavier, but I was a little bit heavier when I started. So I kind of, the weight gain has been the same, I think, pretty much, maybe like a couple of pounds more, but it feels a lot more with this pregnancy. And I think a lot of that is to do with swelling, because my legs, especially like my thighs and stuff, I definitely gained weight. My thighs and my bum I gained weight with Riv too, and like that's fine, it went after pregnancy, fine. But it's my calves and ankles, but weirdly not so much ankles, like my calves. If I'm spend like the day on, like the whole day on my feet, I can't do it anymore, to be quite honest with you, like at this point. But say a month ago or 6 weeks ago, my calves would be like double the size in the evening than they were in the morning. So it kind of, I take that as my body being like, slow down, put your feet up. But yeah, that's been a real difference this time, because I didn't get it at all with Riv. And a lot of people do get swelling with their first pregnancies, and their hands and their feet and things. My hands have been okay. I think they're like a little bit more swollen, but not to the point where, like, you know, I'm like 37 weeks, so technically full term now. Oh yeah, maybe my wedding ring probably needs to come off. But my engagement ring is fine. I think there's half a size difference between my wedding ring and my engagement ring, but fine. In terms of swelling, like a lot of people end up taking their rings off like towards the end. Mine have been okay. What else have I had? Pelvis pain, which I had with Riv, and it went away in, I think it went away at like 22, 24 weeks with River. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly on that front, but I feel like it wasn't as bad this late on. The pelvic pain has been probably the worst thing about the 3rd trimester for me, and I've had it since about halfway through, but not so bad. Whereas now it's a combination of my pelvis being slightly like misaligned, which is super common in pregnancy. I've had that combined with a trapped nerve the last few weeks, and this is something again I didn't have with my first pregnancy. It literally feels like, and it's not every day, it's not all the time, it's just, I think it's when the baby kind of moves and is sitting in a certain way, and he hasn't moved position properly in like over a month, because he's been like in the like right position ready to go for ages now. So it must just be the way he's kind of positioned himself within that general position. He's like head down ready to roll, but I think the way he like maybe puts his shoulder or his arm or something, sometimes he sits on a nerve somewhere, and it's like, you know those toys that you have when you're a kid where you press they're like the little wooden toys, really old-fashioned ones, where you press underneath the bottom and then they go bloop, and they just like totally like fall over, and then you take your finger off and they stand up straight again. It feels like that but slightly more painful. I had my final growth scan, which was interesting. So this baby's been measuring on the bigger side for the entire pregnancy, so they can't really tell you about like size until halfway, because like all babies generally will be like a similar size until I think it's around the 20-week mark they start kind of differentiating like into like, oh, this is going to be a smaller baby, this is going to be a larger baby. But in the beginning they're all kind of a similar size within reason. So ever since they've been able to kind of like say or comment on his size, it's been like, oh, it's measuring quite big. So this last scan they were like, he's measuring on the 94th percentile, which sounds really drastic, but actually in terms of weight I think that works out as like 9.5 pounds, which, because he's coming via section, because I had a section last time, and they give you the option, if you have a section for your first baby, they give you the option to try naturally or to just like, obviously it's always an option anyway, but they kind of like give you the different pros and cons of just having another section or trying for a natural birth. And I chose to have a section because I had a really positive experience with River's section, but also because the baby, River was 8.7 pounds, so she was fairly big anyway, and this one is measuring even bigger. So anyway, where was I going with that? I'm now like, this is baby brain right here, like losing train of thought all the time. Another thing, they never really know how big they're gonna be, and I'm not necessarily, so I'm not necessarily worried because it's a C-section. I'm not worried if it's gonna be like a 10-pound baby, because it, you know, they get them out anyway. Don't have to worry about that. But in terms of carrying him, I can feel it, like it's heavy. Turning over at night is heavy. Like he is so much more, I don't want to say violently active, but like the kicks are like very uncomfortable. They're not painful, they're very uncomfortable. Whereas with Riv, I remember being like, oh, she's moving, she's kicking with him, and it's always the same time at night. Like he moves like a normal, like, you know, like you can feel him moving around in the day. As soon as I get into bed at night and lie down, he is like having a kung fu ninja party in my belly, and it's like quite very uncomfortable. Like he is going for it, and I think that might be because he's bigger as well, because he's kind of like stronger. I'm just expecting this like full-grown man coming out. Like, anyway, so that happened, and now we are just sitting here growing this big baby and hoping that he is all going to be healthy and fine. But you know, everything's great in terms of scans, which has been really positive, because obviously, like I said before, this hasn't been like a straightforward kind of journey for us. So every scan that we have where they're like, everything's fine, I'm just like, yes. And even things like, you know, early doors, and when they give you pictures and things like that, and you're kind of a bit like, yeah, I'm not really, I just haven't really even been bothered about the pictures, because all I care about when I go for a scan is like, is he okay? Is everything normal? Is he, you know, is he looking healthy? Like, is he early doors? Is he still in there? Is he like, you know, is his heartbeat okay? All of that stuff. So everything's been really positive, which is good. I feel like different in this pregnancy as well, because there have been losses and just a lot of trying for a baby in between. With Riv, I just had total rose tinted glasses on the whole time, and I didn't even think about anything going wrong. Whereas with this one, I feel like I won't feel like totally settled and excited, and just, you know, I won't feel like we've reached the finish line until we properly have reached the finish line and the baby is here and he's healthy and he's had all his checks and everything. I've definitely been getting like more emotional in terms of thinking about his arrival. And basically every time I think about it I cry, and I think I'm gonna be a mess. With Riv, normally I'm like quite, it's funny, I'm quite emotional about trivial things. Like if someone gets like road rage at me and like really shouts at me in the car or something like that, I'll burst into tears. But with important like life things, like at my wedding day I didn't cry, for example. I was just really happy. You know, like emotional things that should normally make you cry don't. Obviously sad things do, but in terms of like happy emotional things, I'm usually quite steely, and then it's afterwards, it's like certain little things I'll just be like. With Riv, I didn't cry when she was born until like I was just holding her in my arms and just like, I just love you so much, like a day after, you know what I mean? Whereas I didn't cry like after she was put in my arms for the first time. It's strange, I don't know. Anyway, and I just, even thinking about that with this baby, I'm just like a mess. And obviously Mike's like, Mike's a bit more practical about these things. It's kind of like, yeah, I know. And I'm just like, it's finally here, and it just feels really weird. So yeah, that's really nice actually, and kind of just like spending those last few kind of weeks with Riv, and I've been trying to plan really fun stuff for her. So when, you know, the next few weeks are probably going to be a little bit, and to be fair, a little bit boring, but obviously Mike's taking a couple of weeks off work, so for her that's like the best thing ever, because they just play together all day. So I think it will be an adjustment for her, but it's also going to be fun. So I think it will be fine. I think it will be fine. But I have just been enjoying like spending time, just me and her. She's actually not here at the moment. She stayed over with my brother last night, because her like best friend is her cousin Willow, who's like 7 months older than her. And she actually hasn't stayed over at anyone's house in quite a long time. Mostly when she does stay over, she stays at my sister's, and my sister is like a second mum to her. She's very, very close with my sister. And so we thought it would be good to kind of like, partly just to like have a bit of a rest last night, but also for her to go and have like a nice sleepover with Willow, and also just like get used to us not being there at night, because she was being very funny about it. She was like, but if I call you, will you come over, and things like that. And you know, when you're like, oh, we will if you really need us, but like hopefully you're gonna be okay. And she was absolutely fine. So I'm hoping she will be okay when we're in hospital, and she'll be with my mum, so she spends a lot of time with my mum as well. So hopefully she'll be fine. I just, you know, I want her to feel kind of secure in that whole experience of a new person coming into the family, because she's had nearly 5 years of us just doting on her and her being an only child, so it's a bit of an adjustment. But yeah, apart from that, all good. Just waiting now. Anyway, that's my update for trimester 3. Are there any essentials? I tried to think of this before I filmed it, and actually I don't think there are any extra essentials from last time I did my second trimester update, except just to reiterate the fact that the BB Hug Me pregnancy pillow is worth every penny. I, like, genuinely, if I could just have one thing in pregnancy, including all maternity wear and everything, it would just be that, because it is just, I wouldn't get any sleep if it weren't for that. Quite honestly, I would get 0 sleep, because yeah, the last few weeks, you just, it's the worst sleep-wise. You're so tired, but you're so uncomfortable. And you need to pee like 50 times a night. You're like, oh God, really? You're like, come on, baby. And then you're gonna be waking me up all night. So I don't want to wish away the time, because then I don't get any sleep either. But at the same time, you're like, oh my God, this is a lot. I also nearly finished this video without showing you my bump, which is part of this whole thing. Well, it was last time I did it, so I feel like it's kind of tradition. Here it is. I'm gonna struggle to get up now because I've been sat in this chair for so long. It's so comfy in this chair. 37 week bump. There he is, my boy. Go from this side so you can see a bit better. Feeling very much like he has dropped in the last 3 or 4 days, like a lot. Like when I get up, I'm like, woo, he is like, yeah. And definitely like easier on the breathing and stuff, even though I've been totally out of breath throughout this whole video still, because I'm quite short. There's just not there's not much torso space left. But yeah, I definitely feel like he's dropped these last few weeks, so these last few days even. So ready to go, bumping along. I'm actually going to stop talking now, but I hope you're all doing very well. And if you are expecting a baby and that's why you're watching this, good luck to you, and I hope you're very well also. And I'll see you very soon. Bye.